them and grind them to dust. In a mud, in a blue, give them plenty of tucker. Standing away. Give nothing but words behind. Oi, you Gretchen lovers! Welcome back to Warhammer 40k, a universe so grand that it's nothing but a good fight. Okay, enough with the orc speak. Last time we focused on the slowly coming out of the closet Dark Angels. But now we focus on my first ever Warhammer army, the Orks, an endless green tide that if it weren't for their constant need for war, they would have been the most successful race in the galaxy. Let's get to the lore. The Orks can trace their lineage back to the Old Ones and the war between them and the Necrons millions of years ago. The race was made in response to the Necrons being turned into the living metal constructs that we see now in modern 40k. And to say the Old Ones outdid themselves is an extreme understatement. The Orks, as they were called at this time, were an extremely violent and adaptable species, able to counter the unending metallic hordes of the Necrons. When the Necrons were defeated and retreated into their tomb complexes, the Orks didn't stop there. The Old Ones forgot to install an off switch into their creations, which led to the Orks killing them and what was left of their creators. After that, the Orks would just simply devolve, turning into the Orks we see now in Warhammer 40k. The Orks have since spread around the galaxy, ranging from small backwards tribes to galaxy-spanning empires. Orc physiology makes it so that they can literally live everywhere. Jungle planets, desert planets, lava planets, asteroid belts, your underwear drawers. Orcs can literally live anywhere, and not only that, but thrive. And that's all the Orcs have been doing for their entire existence, fighting endless wars and crumping anything in their path, whether it be other Orcs, humans, Eldar, or other races that have popped up over the years. Though it seems the Orcs are now uniting under one banner. The big boss himself, Gazzy Mag Uruk Thraka. Can this alliance last? Probably not, but hey, it's not about the destination for the Orcs. It's about how good the fight is. Let's get to the army. The Orks are by far the most simple and straightforward army in all of 40k, and their special ability, is a huge example of that simplicity. This ability has changed somewhat over the years, but for 10th edition, WAAAAAAAGH now does the following. Once per game, you can call WAAAAAAAGH, and for the rest of the in-game round, all your Orks get to charge whether they advanced or not, they add 1 to their strength and attacks for melee weapons, and are given a 5+ invulnerable save. This is meant to be your big push ability. Basically, once you call WAAAAAAAGH, all your Orcs should either be stuck in melee combat, or you'll find yourself up Grot Creek without a paddle after the effects are done. Orcs live and die by getting into melee combat as fast as humanly possible. Sure, your Orcs may lack armor, but you got bodies to soak up the damage, and you should always spur your Orcs towards the enemy, no matter what. Orcs can be categorized by 3 groups, which can highly influence your Orc armies. So, let's get into it.
Comedy Gold.
The first group was the only group of Orcs for years, focused on using a mix of scrap vehicles and foot sloggers. These guys like their giant tanks, walkers, and hordes of boys. Now, we do need to address something quickly about Orcs. Your shooting stat is god-awful. Unless you're a Gretchen, Orcs are terrible shots, only ever hitting on a 5 or 6. This can be a bit of a downer, but this is where the Orcs show their true colors. They don't need to be accurate. If they put 60 shots downrange, it's gonna hit somebody. And when it's come to your artillery units, They are usually manned by Gretchen, so they're going to be hitting on 4s and higher. The OG Orks are built for being an army that puts their boys in boxes and throws them at the enemy as fast as possible. But we also have special boys that focus on tank hunting, burning out infantry, or being quite sneaky and ambushing your opponents. You also get access to the walkers and stompas, ranging from the decent hit and kill a can to the largest titan stompa, and as well getting access to the Ork's own Terminators, the Megadobes. There are Ork characters that are specialized for each Ork unit. Regular Ork bosses can only interact, though, with the regular boys. So be careful when choosing who you take.
Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, faster, faster!
The Speed War is characterized as any advanced transportation, led by a boss on a war trek. The Speedboys want to run circles around enemy units, hitting them hard with shooting, then running them down with melee. The faster the unit, the better. The Speed War also likes making it harder for your opponent to hit them, whether that being too fast to hit, penning them down, or, roping shooting units into melee with bikers. The Speed War was a bit nerfed because they were too overpowered in 9th edition, but the fastest boys are still pretty good to take, all things considered.
We're only here for one thing, and that's sticking the biggest GITZ.
During the last edition, the Orks got a new section of units, focused entirely on monster and vehicle hunting. The Beastboys. These guys have little to no shooting, and their way of transporting guys is just getting a big-ass squig and putting a platform on it. Beastboys are stronger and tougher than their regular boy counterparts, but lack the flexibility of their tech-loving cousins. To a Beast Boy, if punching something ain't broke, then you keep punching it. All Beast Boys, ranging from the basic infantry to the biggest squig bosses, get bonuses for getting stuck in melee combat with things bigger than them. The bigger the target, the better the bonuses. Sure, these guys are stupidly simple, but sometimes being stupid and simple is all you need. Plus, you can't go wrong with a squig boss and squig riders.
No trick. Good enemies is hard to find.
Gazzy has seen an upgrade to his model and his abilities since his War for Armageddon days. He is the biggest and meanest orc around, with his tiny sidekick Makari following him around and granting the big guy a 2+ invulnerable save. A save in which only one other model in the game gets, the Dark Eldar Archon. Gazzy is straight up meant to be a guy who breaks anything he touches, with one of the best melee weapons in the game and the ability to give his orcs auto wounds while giving his Meganob bodyguards bonuses to hit. Gazzy is never a bad choice to take in an orc army. The only massive downside of him, though, is that he takes up 18 slots in a transport that can only hold 22 guys. So that's him, Makari, and some rando you can fit in there. Otherwise, Gazzy, who must be your warlord, has to foot slog it if you want a bodyguard unit for him. And that's the Orks. An army that's simplicity leads to one of the easiest armies to play in Warhammer. Sure, they have poor armor, shooting, and are the embodiment of quantity over quality, but when facing down an army that's only goal is to close the gap and flood you with bodies, dice, and just pure absolute randomness, you get not only one of the best and simplest horde armies, but you get an extremely fun time with it. For there is no such thing as losing for an orc. Even if you die fighting, you've already lived a good life. Thanks for watching, and when we come back, I'm going to be teaching you lot how to play Warhammer 40k. See you next time.